It was just another sunny afternoon in Lekki, but no one could have known that my heart, Nathan Okoye, a businessman from a wealthy background, was carrying an emptiness I couldn't quite name. I had just stepped out from the top floor of my company headquarters to breathe some real air, the kind not filtered through an air conditioner or rehearsed in a business speech. Near the city fountain, I was about to buy a cold coconut drink when my eyes landed on a scene that gripped my chest like a fist. A woman sat curled up on a torn mat. In her arms were two sleeping toddlers, small faces, curly hair, dark skin, and when they opened their eyes, they looked uncannily like me. She was singing a lullaby, in a soft voice I hadn't heard in years. I walked closer, step by slow step, as though my feet were being pulled backward through time. She looked up as I stood before her. I froze. "Amara," I whispered, barely believing my own eyes. Her lips trembled. "Master Nathan?" That voice, Master Nathan, pulled me back to childhood, to when I was a privileged boy living in my father's mansion. Amara was our maid, only 16, orphaned, gentle, always smiling even as she worked endlessly. Then one stormy night, she vanished. Not a single goodbye. My family said she had run away. I forced myself to believe it. But deep down, I never truly did. And now here she was, sunburned, ragged, exhausted, cradling two children that every fiber of my being told me were mine. "My God, what happened to you?" I knelt down, searching her eyes. She clutched the children tighter, tears brimming. "It's a long story, Nathan." I took a deep breath and said gently, "Then let's start from the beginning." She sat silently beside me in the back seat of my car. I motioned for the driver to head home, to my private estate, far from the chaos of central Lekki. The twins slept peacefully on her lap. I handed Amara a bottle of water. She accepted it with shaking hands, but didn't drink. "Tell me, Amara, where have you been all these years?" She stared out the window, her voice barely a whisper. "The night I disappeared, it was during a storm. I was cleaning the kitchen when I overheard your stepmother, Veronica, on the phone. She said they needed to get rid of me. That I was a threat to Nathan's future, I clenched the seat. I knew my stepmother had never liked Amara, but I didn't think she'd do something so cruel. She hired two men. They gagged me. I screamed, but no one heard. They dropped me off in a remote village near the border and left me. "Oh God," I murmured. "Why didn't you come back?" I was ashamed. I had no money. No identity. I had to do whatever I could to survive, cleaning pig pens, tending gardens. Then, I met a man. He promised to marry me. Promised me a new life. But when I got pregnant, he disappeared. I closed my eyes. The emotions inside me swirled, rage, sorrow, guilt. I never forgot you, Amara. Truly. She turned to me, eyes glistening. You were the only one who was kind to me. I never imagined we'd meet again. I gently held her hand. You don't have to be alone anymore. But why, Nathan? After everything I've become, why do you care? I gave a sad smile. Because I never stopped caring. We arrived home. The security guards looked shocked as I carried the children from the car, but said nothing. Our housekeeper, Mama Neka, gasped when she saw Amara. Oh my goodness. Is that? Amara, is it really you? Amara nodded, tears falling. It's me, Ma. I led her to the guest room, warm, clean, softly lit. Stay here for now. The kids need rest, and so do you. She stood frozen for a moment, then carefully sat on the edge of the bed. Her hand touched the blanket, her eyes misting over. It's been so long since I've laid on a mattress. I sat beside the children, still sleeping on the soft blanket. One of them stirred, his tiny fingers wrapping around mine. My heart clenched. What are their names? I asked. She brushed their hair gently. The boy is Emeka. The girl? Zuri. Beautiful names. Full of meaning. Then, the question I'd been avoiding since I saw her, finally escaped. Amara, are they mine? Her eyes widened. No. I swear. Back then, you were still just a boy. There was nothing between us. I nodded, smiling faintly. I had to ask. They just look so much like me. She laughed softly. You always had a striking face. We laughed together, like children in the old kitchen. But in her eyes, I still saw something, unsaid. I whispered, Amara, is there something you're not telling me? She turned away, her voice barely audible. There's nothing. I didn't push her. But I knew, the real story had only just begun. The next morning, I brought a cup of ginger tea into Amara's room. She stood by the window, eyes watching the two little ones running through the sun-drenched garden. The scene looked peaceful, yet her face carried a sorrow that had no name. Emeka and Zuri look so happy, I said softly, placing the tea on the table. Yeah, she smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. It's been a long time since they've played in a real garden. I looked at her for a long while. Amara, why didn't you come to me sooner? Why didn't you send a letter or ask someone for help? She turned to me, guilt flickering in her eyes. I did. I sent letters, several times. I even came back to your old house. But the one who opened the door was your stepmother. She told me you had moved abroad. She said you didn't care anymore. My heart tore in two. She lied, I said, almost through clenched teeth. I know. But back then, I had no other choice. I was exhausted. Before I could respond, the front gate bell rang. I didn't wait for anyone else to answer. That uneasy feeling I'd had all morning suddenly surged up. I stepped out to the door. A woman strode in, tight dress, designer bag, and that familiar mocking stare. Veronica. My stepmother. Heard you've been picking up homeless girls lately? Her voice was sharp as a knife. I stood in her way. You're not allowed in here. But she had already seen Amara in the hallway. Her sharp eyes narrowed. Oh, still alive, are we? Amara flinched, pulling the children close. Her face pale. I turned back, my voice tight. You don't get to talk like that. This is my house. If you came to poison it, walk away. Veronica laughed coldly. Then I suppose you won't want to hear what I know about her, and the kids? Amara froze. I looked between them, suddenly unsure who to believe. Leave, I growled. She shrugged and walked off. But inside me, peace was far from near. That night, when everyone was asleep, I entered my private library. Old books, wooden car models, letters from my mother. And then I saw it, a small, worn wooden box, inside it an old yellowed envelope, familiar handwriting. To Nathan, in case you never see me again. My hands trembled as I opened it. Dearest Nathan, you were the kindest boy I ever knew. If anything happens to me, please don't blame yourself. I'm scared. I don't know where they're taking me. But I'll survive. I'll find a way back. Please don't forget me. With love, Amara. My throat tightened. She had tried to warn me. And I had never known. The next morning, I quietly placed the letter on her nightstand. When she saw it, her hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes wide with disbelief. You found it. I nodded. Now I know. She buried her head in the pillow, sobbing. I sat beside her. It was my stepmother who had hidden all of this. Amara, I said gently, if this is just the tip of the iceberg, is there anything else you haven't told me? She looked up, red-eyed, and whispered, there's one more person you need to know about. That evening, as I sat with her, the phone rang. The caller ID froze me. Desmond. Amara saw the screen, her face turned pale. Don't answer it, please. But I had already swiped. A man's voice came through, smooth but dripping with mockery. Oh, is this the great Nathan? The hero who saves used-up women. I gritted my teeth. You abandoned her. And your child. My child? He laughed. I met her after that belly was already showing, my guy. I'm not stupid. I just enjoyed it for a while. I looked at Amara. She shook her head, desperate. He's lying. I swear. I didn't know I was pregnant when I met him. I believed her. But the seed of doubt had already been planted. I looked at Emeka, that serious face, square jaw. Zuri, those deep round eyes. I whispered, Amara, it's time we know the truth. 2 days later, I brought her and the kids to the DNA clinic. She held my hand as the technician swabbed Emeka and Zuri's cheeks. No matter the result, my feelings for you won't change, I said. She nodded. I believe you. But I knew the truth was necessary. For both of us. And for the children, who deserve to live with clarity and dignity. The results would come in 5 days. But those 5 days felt like 5 years. Amara quietly cared for the kids, teaching them to count rocks and name colors. But when she thought no one was watching, I saw her smile fade. On the 5th day, a mailman delivered a heavy white envelope, no return address. I opened it. Took a deep breath. 99.99% match. Conclusion: Nathan Okoye is the biological father of Emeka and Zuri. Nathan's eyes widened. His chest tightened, then burst open. They're mine, he whispered. He knelt beside her, holding her trembling frame. I believe you. Don't cry. We finally have our answer. The 2 children still laughed in the garden, unaware. But to Nathan, each giggle now carried a different weight, of blood, of responsibility, and of a love never spoken aloud. That night, he lay under the sky, the test results still in his hand. One thought flashed in his mind: if they were his, then why hadn't Amara ever told him? Not because she lied, he never believed that, but because something else still remained untold. At dawn, as the first light spilled through the curtains, Nathan made a decision: it was time to face the last truth, even if it hurt. The news about the twins and the DNA results didn't stay confined within the Okoye family mansion walls. 3 days later, a lawsuit arrived at Nathan's law office. The signature: Desmond Uche, the very man who had abandoned Amara years ago. In the complaint, he demanded visitation rights and recognition of paternal responsibility for the 2 children. Nathan gripped the letter tightly, his face unreadable. He vanished when Amara was pregnant. And now he wants to claim them just because the spotlight's shining on this family. Amara stood beside him, silent. Fear clouded her eyes. He'll lie, twist everything. I know him. I won't let him touch the kids. I promise. Nathan turned to his attorney. Prepare everything. The courtroom is where we'll tell the whole truth. The trial took place at Lagos Family Court, amidst the rapid clicking of cameras at the gates. The media had already named the case. The billionaire, the maid, and the battle for the twins. Desmond appeared in a gray suit, eyes gleaming with arrogance. He denied all accusations. I'm the legal father. She ran off with my children and is now clinging to a rich man. His lawyer petitioned to dismiss the initial DNA test, claiming it lacked objectivity. A low blow. The courtroom fell silent. Amara gripped Nathan's hand, hers ice cold. Then Nathan's lawyer stood calmly. Your Honor, my client conducted a second DNA test, this time through a court-appointed independent lab. He handed the envelope to the judge. A beat of silence. 99.99%. Nathan Okoye is the biological father of the twins, the judge read aloud. Desmond shot up from his seat, shouting, it's staged. Fraud. Security swiftly escorted him out of the courtroom. His venomous words faded behind the closing doors. Amara broke down, covering her face in tears. Nathan said nothing, he simply held her tightly. Outside, a swarm of reporters surged forward. But this time, Nathan stepped in front of them, his voice firm. Yes, they are my children. And this woman is not the maid, she is the mother of my children. She is the woman I love. Camera flashes erupted. The story was no longer a scandal. It was a statement. That night, the mansion returned to its quiet state. The twins were fast asleep after a long and emotional day. But inside Nathan, the storm hadn't settled. He and Amara sat across from each other in the living room. A dim golden light cast a soft glow over the untouched cups of tea. For a long while, no one spoke. Then Nathan finally broke the silence. There's still one question I don't have an answer to. Amara looked up, her eyes alert. Why did you never tell me they were mine? Not after we reunited, but from the very beginning. Amara set down her cup of tea, her hand trembling slightly. I was scared, she whispered. Scared you'd think I was trapping you. Scared you'd hate me. When I found out I was pregnant, you were living in a world that felt impossibly far away. I understand, Nathan nodded, though the hurt still lingered in his eyes. But you knew me. You knew I'd never abandon my own children. I did, Amara's tears fell. But I also made a promise, to someone. Your mother. Nathan froze. Your birth mother, Amara continued, her voice tightening. Before she passed, she sent me a letter. She knew everything. She was the one who helped me escape your stepmother's grasp years ago. Amara walked into the bedroom and returned with a small tin box. From it, she pulled out an old letter, its paper yellowed with age. Nathan unfolded the note. The handwriting was familiar, gentle, hurried. If anything happens, please protect the children. Don't tell Nathan until you feel it's safe. His world is too dangerous. Wait for the right time. Trust your heart. Mother. Nathan's chest tightened. He could almost hear his mother's voice from the past. The questions that had haunted him for so long finally had an answer. He folded the letter and stepped toward Amara. You kept your promise. You protected our children. You endured all of this alone for years. Now, it's my turn. Amara's voice cracked. You're not angry? No, Nathan smiled softly. I knew my mother. She never did anything without a reason. And you're the only person who's kept her alive in my world. They embraced in silence. Outside in the garden, the little spinning lights on the children's toy carousel twinkled in the dark. And in that moment, Nathan knew, it was time to tell the world, not just the truth, but about love. In the garden, bathed in warm golden lights, Nathan held Adai's in his arms while Amara walked hand in hand with Chidura. Laughter echoed through the gentle night. Amara turned to Nathan, eyes glistening. We've been through so much. Nathan squeezed her hand. Only to end up exactly where we were meant to be. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread the message of family, forgiveness, and hope. Your support helps us keep telling heartfelt stories that matter.